All right, so I'm going to start this class. I see that one of you is here, and we're going to begin then, okay? And we're going to do two things as always. First, we're going to give some recommendations. We are going to try to see what we have to do for this weekend. And then we are going to go to the lesson that we need to cover. All right. So first we have Pearson. You know that on Pearson we have to keep working. Today is the last day for you to complete assignments for Unit 3. Okay, don't forget about that, please. Because remember that all your grades, all your scores are only from Pearson. And if you don't complete those assignments, then, well, you may have some problems, right, with passing the course because everything is here. All right, everything is here. The assignments and their score, right? The quizzes and their score, and the final exam, which is going to be next week, and it's a score, right? Um, First, let me select your course. This is A8. And remember that I already assigned the quiz, okay? Even the quiz. So I'm just going to show the gradebook and you see how you're doing. So again, here you can see, if you know that you are missing some assignments, if you know that you didn't complete, right, everything that you had to, for example, last week, this is the week in which you can do it better, right? And you can try to complete all those assignments because as you can see, you should complete or you should have completed after this date 121. All right, try to work on those ones, please. Try to work on the ones that at least you know that you have to complete for, well, actually tonight, and it's going to be 11:59 p.m. Also, as you can see, you have one more quiz, but this is going to be available as we finish the class today, right? 7:45 p.m. You are going to be able to take the third quiz. And with that, the third quiz and the third unit is going to be done over. And we're going to go to the last one that is going to be next week. So next week is our last week, and it's also the last unit. All right. So take that into account, please. Again, if you have questions, comments, anything about Pearson, you are going to let me know. All right. But as you are thinking, or if you have questions, again, you can just stop me and you can ask the question or you can raise your hand and I'm going to let you speak. But today we're going to start with comparative adjectives. This is the last unit for Unit 3, and this is again the thing we're going to practice today so that you have everything you need for taking the quiz. All right, either today after the class or tomorrow, or maximum is going to be until Sunday 11:59 p.m. once again. So let's start having a conversation about this, Evelyn. All right, you don't need to give me like a definition or a grammar definition about it. Just anything that comes to your mind, and you can give me examples, Evelyn. What comes to your mind when you read comparative adjectives? What do you say?
Good afternoon, teacher. Sorry for the loud music. Um, Hello, teacher.
Yes, Evelyn. Don't worry. No, actually, I cannot hear anything. I just listen to your voice, and I can only hear your voice. All right, so I can hear you very well, Evelyn. Don't worry. Good
Okay,
evening.
thank you, teacher. The adjective, uh, an example can be better or uh, more beautiful.
Great.
Um,
Try to use those two, please, in two examples, Evelyn. How can you use better and how can you use more beautiful? Because it's great. Those are comparative adjectives. How can you use those two, all right, in two examples?
can be my friend is more beautiful than my aunt.
Good, that's one, very good. One more, please, and you have to use better now.
Better can be my brother is better than his friend.
Good. Just one thing, because I think it's great, all right? But just to be sure and to give more explanation, is better at what? For example, you can say, my friend is better at fixing cars than his friend. Or you can say, my friend is better at speaking English than my friend. Okay, so what is your what is your friend better at than the other person?
Okay, for example, my brother is better than his friend at doing joking.
You mean jokes, something that makes you laugh, right? You're saying jokes, right? Joking with a J-O-K, right? Good. So in that one, remember, instead of do, you have to use the verb make. Okay, at making jokes.
Making jokes.
Good. Very good. So only one more time, please, the complete idea, Evelyn.
Okay, my brother is better than his friend making jokes.
Sorry, good, very good. Don't forget about the preposition, all right? At making jokes. Great.
Okay.
Very good, Evelyn. Thank you very much.
Thank you, teacher.
You're welcome. So just in case it's in the chat, okay, at making jokes, all right? Because joke is something that you use with make, all right? Good, good. And also don't forget about that preposition, Evelyn. This is interesting because you are good at something, you are bad at something, or you are better at something than other people, right? You can say, I'm better at, I don't know, speaking French than Peter, all right? Or he is better at, I don't know, right? Understanding, right, the meaning of abstract ideas than, I don't know, any name, right? Than that person. So good, that's a comparative adjective. And that's what we need to work on today. As I can see, Evelyn, you know this one. So this is going to be just like reinforcement, all right? This is going to be reviewing what you perhaps know. This is going to be reinforcing these elements so that you are sure that you are using this structure in a correct way. Let's read, please, this explanation here, Evelyn.
The read, teacher.
Yes, please. Let's read.
When we talk about two things, we can compare them. We can see if they are the same or different. Perhaps they are the same in some ways and different in other ways. We can use comparative adjectives to describe the differences.
Great. Thank you very much, Evelyn. So here we want to describe the differences, right? Here we want to understand how one thing, one person, right, one something is going to be better, is going to be more comfortable, is going to be faster, is going to be, I don't know, right? Any adjective with this comparative form, than another object, than another person, than another something that you want to mention over there. Okay, so you know again that one because of the examples that you just gave me. I can see that you get this very well. But again, it's reinforcing, it's reviewing, and making sure that everything is clear. This is one example, all right? And the example says the following, that A1 is bigger than A2, right? Because A1 is big, A2 is small. So if you compare those two, right? If you compare those two, of course, you can see that one of them is bigger. But if I ask you this, Evelyn, what example can you give me with the same illustration? Okay, using this illustration. You have one example and it says A1 is bigger than A2. But use the same illustration, please, Evelyn. And what example can you give me that is not this one over here with big?
The A2 is smaller than A1.
Hey, very good. Great. Thank you, Evelyn. That's correct. So you just like work in the opposite way, right? So you're going to say that A2, and the characteristic is that this is a small, and in this case is a smaller than the previous element, right? Which is A1. So it's great, right? So A2 is smaller. So if we want to understand what's happening here, how can you explain this, Evelyn? Why are we making these changes to big? And what changes are we making to big, Evelyn? How can you explain the comparative form of big? What do we need to do an adjective comparative or to make an adjective comparative?
Can be because for difference the big between bigger is the comparative the word year.
Good, ER. So that's what we need to do, right? How can you explain then? If you say that because it's correct, Evelyn, in the last part you mentioned that one, and that's the answer. To make an adjective comparative, you are going to add what? ER, right? ER. So good. But is it like this in every case, Evelyn? Am I going to do this with all adjectives? Or with what type of adjectives I'm going to add ER? And do you know if we have other ways to make an adjective comparative? What do you say?
Other adjective can be where this adjective is short word, but other adjective can be long word. In this case, I can use words like more.
Good, great. And what example can you give me of a long adjective? Because what you're saying is great, Evelyn. It is correct. You have short adjectives as big, and after big, you can add ER, right? We have another rule over there, but we're going to take a look at that later on. And you can have long adjectives, and with long adjectives, you use more, right? You don't use ER, you use more, correct? And what example can you give me? What is a long adjective that you know, Evelyn?
Maybe my house is more comfortable than her aunt's house.
Good, thank you, Evelyn. Correct. So one adjective is comfortable, right? So something can be more comfortable than another object, than another thing, right? Good. So more comfortable. Also, you gave me, I believe, this example, more beautiful, right? More interesting. And those are long adjectives. And again, we don't add ER, we work with more, right? So I think that's great. Okay, that's very well explained. Now, the last question here, Evelyn, and I don't know if you know this one, perhaps it's not as important as the main topic, that is the comparative adjectives, but it's going to be important for writing, okay? And that's always good, and it's worth knowing. So why are we doubling, all right, the G? Okay, here we have a double G, Evelyn. Okay, because the adjective is big, And we only need to add ER, bigger, right? But why are we doubling the G? What do you say? Why do we do that?
Because this word and consonant maybe.
Good, and it is great. It is correct, but there's more than that. You're over there. You're over there, Evelyn. You're very close. It's a consonant, but not every word that ends in consonant is going to be doubled. All right. For example, look, I'm just going to give you one short example. Actually, I'm going to write it here. All right. This is an adjective, a one-syllable adjective, tall, and this adjective ends in L. But it's a consonant, right? But I don't have to double the L, right, and say it like this, sorry. Okay, one more L will be like this, right? So it will be that one. But of course, that's incorrect, right? And that's also a consonant. So what else do you think it is? Because it's related to that. But what do you have before the consonant in this word, Evelyn? Here you have one consonant, as you said, but what do you have before that consonant?
Because in any words there is vowel and consonant, and the other words only consonant, vowel. Teacher, I don't hear.
Sorry, thank you, Evelyn. I didn't notice that my microphone was off. So good. What you say is correct. You have vowel and you have consonant. Only one element is missing, Evelyn. Okay, one, that you have another consonant before. Okay, so the rule is the CVC. That is the consonant vowel consonant. Okay, so if your adjective, if your short adjective is going to be composed, right, of consonant plus vowel plus consonant, it means that you have to double the last consonant, right? So B consonant, I vowel, G consonants, you double the G, right? But if you don't have that combination, if you don't have consonant, vowel, consonant, you're not going to double the last consonant. Evelyn, but not only a consonant, not only a vowel, all right? Again, my connection is unstable one more time, but not only a consonant and a vowel. You need three elements. Consonant, vowel, consonant. Just that one. If you want to know an example, let's go to the usage, Evelyn, and I'm going to ask you to read this slide, please.
Often the comparative adjective is followed by than. John is 1 meter 80. He is tall, but Chris is 1 meter 85. He is taller than John. America is big, but Russia is bigger. I want to have a more powerful computer. Is French more difficult than English?
Thank you very much, Evelyn. All right. So these are some examples, right, using comparative adjectives. And you know that as you did it before, you know that one. You use. It's not always the case, but you can use then, right, to mention the other object or, well, actually, the other person that is going to be part of that sentence, right? But not always, again, because you're going to take a look at some examples or expressions in which you only use the comparative adjective because the context makes clear, all right? The context, it makes clear that the other object was previously mentioned or the other object is simply obvious and you don't need to mention that one, all right? But for practicing, it's a good thing that you can use this word, right? Then. So following these examples, please, we don't have the formula yet. We don't have the rules yet, Evelyn. But you know that we have our file in which we can write these examples and we can be sure that everything is clear. And in terms of writing, also you're doing good. So one more time, I'm sharing this file. It is in the chat, Evelyn. It's over there. So let's write some examples, please. Following, again, what you see over here, try to give me, please, 4 examples, Evelyn. Okay, but don't use these adjectives, all right? Don't use taller, don't use bigger, don't use more powerful, and don't use more difficult. Okay, but it's going to be 2 with short adjectives, Evelyn. Okay, 2 examples with short adjectives and 2 examples with long adjectives. Okay, all right. So please, 4 examples, 2 with short adjectives, 2 with long adjectives, and to be. We're going to have 3 to 4 minutes to look at what you did, and we're going to give some corrections or recommendations if it's necessary. All right, let's do it, please. You're going to let me know if you have questions.
Ready, teacher?
Very good. Great. So it's before time. That's great, Evelyn, that you let me know when you finish before. So let's take a look at your example, please. And I can see them over here. Good. Let's read them out, please, Evelyn. The 4 examples that you wrote.
My brother is younger than me. Michaela is more intelligent than my cousin. Sarah is shorter than me. Manuel is more handsome than my brother.
All right. Thank you very much, Evelyn. I think it's working great. Okay. I don't see any problems over here. I think you know how to use this structure and it's great. All right. The 2 short adjectives are going to be young, good, and short, great. And the long ones are intelligent and handsome. All right. And it also works very good. So great. I have no observations. I have no suggestions here in general. What we have to use is being used. So if you have questions, again, let me know. But on my side, I think everything is working great, Emily. Okay, so let's keep uh, working on this presentation. And we're going to go to the next part. That is this one. Again, you know this already, Evelyn, but it's reinforcing, and again, it's making sure that everything is clear. Let's read this slide, please, Evelyn, how to use them.
There are 2 ways to make or to form a comparative adjective. Short adjectives add ear, long adjectives use more.
Very good. Only let's read one more time, please. How do you read this over here, Evelyn?
Ear or ear.
ER. ER.
Ear.
All
Ear.
right. There you go. Good. Thank you. Thank you, Evelyn. Of course, yes, I'm reading this like letter by letter, right? ER. But yes, the sound, of course, is going to be like right? But here we're not going to make that sound. We are just going to make clear that we have to use those 2 letters, right? The E and the R, all right? Or the R in this case. Good. So short adjectives, we know that. ER, and long adjectives, as you mentioned before, more. Now, let's take a look at the specific rules, Evelyn. This is also going to be for you, please, Evelyn. Read the information over here. This is 1 syllable. Okay, it means it has 1 syllable. Here is not number 2. It means 2 syllable adjectives. Okay, so adjectives that have 2 syllables and adjectives that have 2 syllables. Okay, 1 syllable and 2 syllables. So with that information, let's read everything here, please. Let's read this chart.
1 syllable adjectives. Examples: old, fast. 2 syllable adjective ending in and I. White. Happy, easy. Rural at ER, old, older. Variation. If the adjective ends in E, just add or. Example, late, later. Variation, if the adjective ends in consonant, vowel, consonant double the last consonant. Example, big, bigger. Variation, if the adjective ends in Y, change the Y to I. Examples, happy, happier.
There you go. Thank you, Evelyn. So these roles, again, are something that we know, but it's important to have that in this chart, for example, so that we remember and we can be sure that what we were thinking is correct. And as we can see, this information is really interesting, Evelyn. It's not only short adjectives that are made of 1 syllable, right? For example, old, fast, tall, right? One syllable, one syllable, one syllable. You can also use two-syllable adjectives, happy, easy, right? Two syllables that end in Y. Okay, that's very important because in the long adjectives rules, all right, you are also going to see two-syllable adjectives, but those adjectives are not going to end in Y. All right, that's very important to remember. Okay, so here to apply and to use this rule, again, we're going to have exceptions as many things in English, but in most of the cases, if you want to use two-syllable adjectives with this rule, the ending has to be like this. All right, just that one. Here you have some adjectives, but we're going to try to make the following, please, Evelyn, but not now. We're going to take a look then at the long adjective rules. And after that, I'm going to give you some time because you're going to do some research, all right? A very short research. Again, if you use Google, it's going to be easy for you. But it's going to be you doing that research because you're going to copy and paste the information in the document that we use. And we're going to use that information that we got from Google or any source that you want to, all right, use to write more examples. Okay, but before going there, let's go to the next part, please. These are short adjectives, the rules. Let's read this rule for long adjectives, please, Emily.
Two-syllable adjectives not ending in Y. Examples, modern, present. All adjectives of 3 or more syllables. Examples, expensive, intellectual. Rule, use more. Examples, modern, more modern, expensive, more expensive.
Great, thank you very much, Evelyn. So there you go, right? We don't have as many rules as we had over here, right? With the short adjective, well, with the short adjectives, right? But it's because actually everything is clear over there. Here you only know, or you need to know that you work with two-syllable adjectives, as I said before, not ending in Y, and all 3 or more syllable, right, adjectives, which is very, very important to know. So if you see, of course, a long word, you automatically are going to use this rule, right? More motor, more expensive, more intellectual, more pleasant, and so on and so forth, right? So again, now here I can give you then that task that I was telling you before, all right? This is what you have to do, please, Evelyn. Again, you can use Google, so it's not going to take a long time, but please, you have to select adjectives that you understand in a certain way, all right? But because of course there are very complex adjectives, Evelyn. If you show me all adjectives, of course there are going to be some that I'm going to be like, what's that? Okay, because there's a lot of them. Even if you use adjectives in Spanish, right? There are words, right? There are many words that we don't know. Okay, so be sure, please, that you're going to select adjectives that you can use, that you can understand, because I'm going to tell you what words you're going to use for examples. All right, but what you have to do is that you're going to do some research now, Evelyn. Again, the time limit is going to be 4 minutes or 5 minutes, but if you finish in 2 minutes, let me know and we continue. Again, and the task is finally this one, all right, is 20 words. You need to do some research on Google or any source to get 20, okay, 20 short adjectives, if it's possible to find them, all right, and 20 long adjectives. It's a lot, all right, it's a lot, but again, try to get them, okay, as many as you can, Evelyn. Again, if you go to Google and write short adjectives, you're going to have a big list, I'm sure. Just select, please, the ones that you are sure that you understand so that you can use any of those in examples. Okay, so one more time, 20 short adjectives, okay, and try to use different ones, please, Evelyn. Not old, fast, happy, easy, and with short adjectives, I mean two-syllable adjectives ending in Y as well. All right, so try to use different, please, short adjectives and different long adjectives. Okay, 20 short and 20 long. So, do you have any questions before working on that research, Evelyn? Let me know, please.
No, teacher, it's clear.
Okay, very good. So please, after you find the 20 short adjectives and the 20 long adjectives, you're going to copy and paste that information here, okay, into the same file that you used to give the examples. Okay, so you copy and paste the adjectives over here, the 20 short ones and the 20 long ones, and then we are going to read those adjectives. And again, be sure that you can use those adjectives because I'm going to tell you which ones you're going to use to give me examples. Okay, let's do it, please. Again, the limit is going to be 4 to 5 minutes, but if you finish before, perhaps you're going to finish way before, let me know. Okay, let's begin, please. All right, so it's a little bit more than 5 minutes. Let's take a look at what we got, please, Evelyn. And we're going to try to work with those adjectives. And again, the purpose is try, right? Well, trying to find different adjectives, trying to use different words so that we get used to, again, words that perhaps we don't use that commonly, but they are going to be important, all right, to extend the vocabulary that we got and to, again, increase our level in English. So let's take a look at what you found, please. You have some adjectives over here, and I think we can try to add more. So those ones are the short adjectives, if I'm not wrong, right? If they are the short adjectives, good. We're going to try now. If you tell me, Evelyn, I can give you some extra time, but let's try to also find a long adjectives so that we can do this. All right. And you don't need, actually, if you want, as you're doing here, you can give me the ER. Okay. But actually, first, we only need the adjectives. For example, fast. Okay. Not faster. But if you want to work on the, let's say, rule that we learned, it's very good. Okay. But it's up to you. Here, we only need like the adjectives, and then we are going to use the rules to use them as comparative adjectives. All right, so you tell me. Actually, I'm going to ask you, Evelyn, perhaps not 20, but try to get at least then 10 long adjectives. All right, so how much time do you need, Evelyn, to get 10 long adjectives? What do you say? Only 10 long adjectives. All right, you're making the list there already. So please, then we're going to have let's have 3 minutes. Okay, and in those 3 minutes, try to get as many, again, long adjectives that you can. If it's 10, great. If you get more than 10, even better. All right, so 3 more minutes, please, and get as many long adjectives as you can, and then we work on the examples. All right, so we have those 3 minutes. And again, with what we have, perhaps it's going to be enough. And it's just to understand these words. So let's do the following, please, Evelyn. First, let's read all the adjectives that you found, okay? All the short adjectives and all the long adjectives, please, Evelyn. Let's read them out, please.
Okay. Faster, harder, hotter, colder, warmer, funnier, crunchier, slower, longer, quieter. I don't know quieter.
Yes, in this case, it's going to be quiet, all right? So it's going to be quieter.
Quieter. Newer, weirder, thinner, cheaper, prettier, heavier, higher. Long adjective, more uncomfortable, more interesting, more dangerous, more difficult, more wonderful, more important, more relaxing, more exciting, more sophisticated, more grateful.
Great. Thank you very much, Evelyn. Good. Okay. Interesting words. Okay. You have interesting words over here. Now, this one, let's pay attention to this part, Evelyn. This is going to be very important. All right. Here, fast. What are the last 2 letters that you have in fast? Okay. Just like that, like this. Okay. What are the last 2 letters in fast, Evelyn? What do you say?
Vowel, consonant, consonant.
Correct, right? It means that the rule doesn't apply here, right? Because remember, the rule is consonant, vowel, consonant, right? So if you don't have consonant, vowel, consonant, it means that you don't have to double the last consonant. So it's only going to be ER, okay, faster. That's why if you write like this, it's a mistake, all right? It's going to be a mistake, so faster. The same here. Here, it's great because if you read this, it's consonant, vowel, consonant. So you double the T, right? Hotter. Here, the same. Okay, here, if you analyze again, let's delete. That's the word, right? Quiet. So you have vowel, vowel, consonant, right? So it's not consonant, vowel, consonant. So don't double the last consonant. Okay, so it's only going to be ER, quieter. Now here actually is because you need the word. So the word is thin, right? Thin. And thin is consonant, vowel, consonant, right? And if it's consonant, vowel, consonant, Evelyn, it means that here you have to double the last consonant, double N, ER, thinner with double N. All right, just that one. I don't know if you have questions about those corrections in terms of the short adjectives, Evelyn. Let me know, please.
Teacher, I have a question. The word bored, why is long word? I saw in the site web that the bored is long word, more boring.
Exactly. And that's because of this, Evelyn. Those adjectives are called participial adjectives. What is a participial adjective, Evelyn? Bored and boring. Participial adjectives, Evelyn, end in ed and ing. All right, all of those are participial adjectives. For example, a common one could be tired. Okay, I'm tired. Or this class is tiring. All right, another participial adjective. So your adjective can have the ing or the ed form, Evelyn. They are always going to work with the long adjective rule. Okay, why? Because you cannot add er after participial adjectives. This is the last thing that you can introduce, or rather you can put to that word. Bored, boring, tired, tiring. Okay, so you're never going to say border, right? Because border actually it's going to sound like another word, and boringer, right? So if you think and you remember all the words that you ever listened, okay, that you have ever listened in English, you never heard those words, okay? I'm sure you never heard boringer or something like that, right? So it's more boring, more bored, more tired, more tiring. Okay, and again, it's because these adjectives, Evelyn, are called participial adjectives. And one more time, you can notice that when they finish in ed, when they end in ed or in ing. Okay, but they are not verbs, they are only adjectives. All right, I don't know if that helps or if you have more questions about that one, Evelyn. Let me know, please.
Thank you, teacher. It's clear.
Okay, good. Thank you very much, and good that you asked that one. It was a really interesting question, and we didn't mention that in the presentation because we usually don't see that yet. But it's great that you gave me that example with the board. All right, so great. Now this is going to be speaking. All right. Let's try to choose some of these words. These can be a little bit tricky, but let's start with this one, please, Evelyn. Crunch, right? Crunch. So how can you use crunchier in this case in one example, Evelyn? What do you say?
Um, mm, I don't know if this word adjective, but can be the potatoes is crunchier than camote.
All right, good, good. In that one, then, Evelyn, the only thing, I'm not sure also about the second word. I'm going to check that one. I don't know because that word has a specific name. All right, I'm going to take a look at that. But instead of potatoes, and if you're saying that in plural, then the verb is going to be in plural, right? But more than potatoes, you can say what you use, right? Or the form of the potato. So you can say, for example, French fries or chips. Okay, it's in the chat. So it's better if you say French fries, or even better if you say chips. Okay, because the chips are very crunchy. Okay, like right. So chips are crunchier, all right, crunchier. But if you analyze the other element that you're telling me in Evelyn, it's not usually cooked in the way that it's going to be crunch itself, right? It's more like soft, Evelyn. So what other element, Evelyn, can you remember, or food that it's a little bit crunchy, that sound like when you eat, right? Besides the chip, what do you say? What other element besides the chips?
Can be chisitos.
All right, good. And again, those are like some names that you got, right? That of course those are not going to have an exact translation because the name of that thing is actually the company's name, right? It's going to be the company's name, and it is not going to have the translation, right? Perhaps we need to look for products that have the same name, all right, that have the same name, but you can say like the cheese treats, all right, because treats are going to be related to, this is it's in the chat, all right. Some treats are some, well, food that you eat that perhaps are related to the chips, all right, the nachos, even, because you're going to also call them in that way, okay, the nachos, and the words that don't have exact translation to English because they are specific Spanish names, or they are names of the products, okay, because they are name of products and you don't translate the name of products. But that one, okay, so cheese, it's going to be in the chat. And for the other word, Evelyn, that you were asking, it's actually going to be a sweet potato, all right? The one you told me, camote, okay? Because again, it's a type of potato, but it's a sweet one, okay? So you can call that a sweet potato, or simply, again, you don't call it potato when it's in the crispy or the crunchy state, okay? But it's good. I think it worked very, very well. So chips are crunchier than these cheese treats, right? Good. What about two more? Okay, two more. This is going to be with this, quieter. What example can you give me with quieter, Evelyn?
Quieter, like relax.
Yes, and quieter is related to something that, yes, it's, even you use this similar word, tranquil, all right? It's something that doesn't make noise, that is, yes, relaxed, that it's related with silence, okay? There is a lot of silence. When something is quiet, something is in silence, right? For example, a quiet classroom is a quiet, it's a classroom in which the students are not making noise. Nobody is, like, again, having conversations and making sounds, right? Quiet is, again, as you said, not always relaxed, but something that is not full of noises or sounds that interrupt that the silence that you got. Okay, so that's quiet. So what example can you give me with quieter, that is the adjective?
Can be mm, my my house is quieter than 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 my aunt's house.
Good, that's correct. You can say that in your aunt's house, right, there are a lot of children and they're always screaming, and there are a lot of pets and the pets are barking, right? Which is good. Of course, it's not bad, right? But because of that, your aunt's house is going to have a lot of noise, right? A lot of sounds. But in your house, let's say that you don't have children, right, in your house, that your pet, you only have one or two pets, but they are quiet, right? They don't like to bark, they don't like to meow. But yes, if that's the case, right, then it's correct, right? Your house is quieter than your aunt's house. Good. One more, please. And this is interesting because new, this is an interesting word. You know, new, right? Newer is just the comparative form. All right, but yet let's use it because few people use this word as it is a little bit weird. Okay, so what example can you give me with newer, Evelyn?
Um, can be this building is newer than the buildings on the center in Santa Cruz.
Okay, good. Yes, yes, this building is newer than the other buildings right in Santa Cruz, you can say, right, or Santa Cruz as well. So good, it is correct. Newer, right? And it's easy to get. So let me know if you have questions about these adjectives. Only the short adjectives, Evelyn. Do you have any questions about this list of adjectives that you made?
the word dinner, number
Thinner.
13.
Good. This one, right? Thinner. Thin is, I'm going to give you an example. All right. So this is thin. Okay. Very, sorry, you cannot see. Very thin. Okay. Very thin. But this is going to be something thick. Okay. Thin and thick. All right. It's related to the shape. Thin is related also to one word you can say like skinny when you're talking about people, right? For example, he is thin. It means the physical appearance, he is thin. Or you can say thick. Thick involves like a bigger volume. Okay, so when the volume is not big, it's thin. When the volume is like bigger, it is thick. Okay, so something thin, Evelyn, can be a pencil, right? A pencil is thin, right? Very thin. And something thick can be a book. All right, so I'm going to give you an example. If you give me one moment. Okay, so this is going to be even clearer. I know that perhaps it's understood, but just to make the comparison, you can give me an example like that. So this book, I don't see it. Okay, this one is thick. Okay, thick, that's the opposite. And this one is thin, right? So a thick book and a thin book, all right? I don't know if you have questions because you're going to try to give me one example now, Evelyn, but do you get the idea of thin? And the opposite, just in case I'm writing that in the chat, Evelyn is thick in the chat. Okay, I don't know if you have more questions about thin.
Yes, teacher. I have a question. What is the difference between thin and skin? In what situations I should use this word?
Good. Skin, all right, but actually you say like skinny, and skinny actually it's not a good idea to use that one. Why? It's only for people. Okay, skinny, only for people, or sometimes you can say related to animals, but that's the first thing. Okay, skinny is only for people. But when you're skinny, skin is your skin, right? This is my skin, right? This is my skin. You have over your skin all over your body, right? And skinny, it means that you are like this, like that, all right? But your whole body, all right? So it's a little bit radical. Not always, but if you say she's skinny or he's skinny, it means that they are very thin. Okay, in other words, they are very thin. And thin is more of a general adjective, Evelyn, because again, you can use thin for people, but you can also use thin for objects. All right, but you cannot say this pencil is skinny, right? No, skinny is going to be related to people only, and thin is more general, and it's going to be related to people, to objects, to anything you want. All right, and again, skinny it's a little bit more radical because again, if you analyze skin, your skin, and skinny, it means that I mean you are very, very thin. All right, then that's the idea. I don't know if that helps, Emily.
Yes, teacher. Thank you. I have a question. This word skin. This word is long adjective too, similar bored or tired.
No, because if you analyze skinny, I'm going to write it in the chat. Evelyn is like this. It's in the chat. All right. Now, if you analyze that, it's finishing in Y. Okay, so if it doesn't finish in like ing or ed, like this one, right? And if you see it's a two-syllable words, skinny, all right, if you analyze that one, And if it ends in Y, perhaps you can say skinnier or something like that, all right? But if you say that perhaps it has more than 3, then you're going to use it in this group, all right? So it depends. If it doesn't end in ed or ing, Evelyn, you have to follow the rules. If it's 2 syllables and it ends in y, then it's going to be here. If it's more than 2 syllables, or it's a 2-syllable word that doesn't end in y, or a 3 or more syllable words that it's any word, then it's going to be used in this group. All right, but it depends on those characteristics, Evelyn. All right, I don't know if you have more questions. Let me know, please.
Thank you, teacher. It's clear. Thank you.
Okay. All right. No, thank you for asking. And it's great. All right. Those were really interesting questions. And it's very important that that's clear for you. Now, we have time. We have this. Well, actually, we have a good time to work the last part, on the last part. And we have these 10 words. So please, I'm going to ask you again to work with at least 2 or 3. Perhaps it's only going to be 2. Here, let's try to work with this one, please. Okay, because also this, sometimes people don't use this adjective correctly. All right, but let's use it, please. How do you use more exciting in one example,
Can be traveling is more exciting than stay here.
Good, good. Traveling is more exciting than, and remember, if you're using gerund, traveling is gerund because it's an activity, and stay is an activity also. So you don't say only stay, you have to say then staying with ing. All right, so good. Traveling is more exciting than staying here. Good. Let's repeat that one more time, please, with the staying correction.
Traveling is more exciting staying here.
Good, than staying here, right? Great, there you go. Now, this one, the one that is actually these 3 words. So now it's going to be more sophisticated, all right? What example can you give me with sophisticated, Emily?
The restaurants that located on the center of Santa Cruz is more sophisticated than far restaurants.
Okay, good, good. Only some details. I'm going to help you out with those details. You have 2 options. You can say restaurants located right in, again, you can say the center right of the town, but sometimes, and this can be interesting for you, Evelyn, you can call the center of the town downtown. Okay, so downtown is usually referred to the center of the city. Okay, so you can say the center of the city, or you can say downtown. All right, downtown. So, but in the way you did it, you have to connect it in a different way. You have to say something like this: restaurants, right? The restaurants that are, okay, because it's plural. The restaurants that are located downtown are, okay. Don't use is because it's still plural. Right? So plural, so are more sophisticated than the ones. Okay, you don't need to repeat restaurants, so only the ones, than the ones located, okay, than the ones located. You can say far away, okay, far or far away, or you can also say like in the suburbs, okay, suburbs, and the suburbs, right, is related to the area that is around downtown, a little bit far, That's why instead of are, you can say suburbs. All right. But to learn that word, also you can use it. Okay. It's in the chat, suburbs. Okay. So let's repeat one more time, please. It can be a little bit complex, but it's interesting that you can use those words every. So it's going to be restaurants that are located downtown are more sophisticated than the ones located in the suburbs. Okay, let's try to repeat everything, please, Evelyn.
The restaurants are located downtown are more sophisticated than
Than the
suburbs
ones?
than the ones suburbs.
But than the ones located in the suburbs. All right, let's repeat that last idea, please. Than the ones located in the suburbs.
Than the ones located in the suburbs.
Great, thank you very much, Evelyn. Good. And also in the last part, in the first part, sorry, don't forget to say that, right? Restaurants not are located, you have to say that are located. Okay, so good. Just in case, I'm going to write the complete idea in the chat. All right, actually, I'm going to do it here because it's better. You can find the information here. All right, so it's like this. The restaurant, all right, located, or actually let's use the thing that I told you, that are located in downtown are more sophisticated, right, than the ones located in the suburbs. All right, good. So that's the idea. All right, and again, that's to give you more vocabulary, Evelyn. It can be interesting. You can say here downtown or the center of the city. It's not, there's no big deal. All right, actually, I'm going to let it like that. But downtown and suburbs are interesting words that you know, and also this structure, okay, in the restaurants that are located downtown are. You use double R because this is a clause, and this is the real verb for everything that you have here. Okay, everything here, this is just one subject. The restaurants that are located downtown, subject, are verb because it's plural, right? More sophisticated than the comparison. The ones replacing the restaurants, located is using this structure in a different way. And in the suburbs, that refers to far located regions or areas in your city. All right, just that one again. I don't know if you have any questions about that, Evelyn. Let me know, please.
No, teacher, thank you. It's clear.
Okay, good. And the last example, please. All right, the last one, Evelyn. Grateful. This is a beautiful word, right? And it's good, so of course, that you have it over there. So what example can you give me using that word, please, Evelyn? Grateful.
My dog is more grateful than my cat.
All right, good. Yes, that's a good sentence. Yes, right? But I'm sure your cat is also grateful, but in a different way, right? Good, good. That's a great example, right? That's what we can see. Great. So that's how we use these comparative adjectives, right? And it's good. You did it very well, Evelyn. I don't have any more recommendations, observations. Of course, you need to feel more comfortable, right, with these words and by using these words. But it's going to be, again, a process, but I think you're doing it very, very well. So I don't have, again, observations or questions. So the last thing we're going to do is just read the last part of this presentation to finish today, okay? So we have some exceptions, and actually this is interesting. I told you before, Evelyn, English has a lot of exceptions every time. And sometimes you can use the two ways the short formula and the long formula with one adjective. Here you have 4 examples. And all of them, even you can add here the word common, because you can say more common or you can say commoner. It sounds weird, but it's still correct. Okay, so some 2-syllable adjectives can be used with ER or with more, and they are going to be okay. All right, so let's read this, please, Evelyn. Read everything, exceptions.
With some two-syllable adjective, we can use er or more, quiet, quieter, more quiet, clever, cleverer, more clever, narrow, narrower, more narrow, simple, simpler, more simple.
Good. Only this word, please, Evelyn. Everything was great. This one is going to be one exception. Okay, instead of E, is going to be only A. Clever, cleverer, okay, cleverer, cleverer, and more clever. Let's repeat that one, please. Cleverer, cleverer, and more clever, please, Evelyn.
Clever, cleverer, more clever.
There you go. Thank you. There you go. So exceptions. Okay, just take that into account. You don't need to memorize those exceptions, but you need to know. Now, this is important, and actually you use this. You don't say gooder, you don't say better, you don't say fairer, right? You need to use this irregular form of adjectives. So this is also for you, please, Evelyn. Let's keep reading these examples, please.
The following adjectives have irregular forms: good, better, bad, worse, far, further, further.
Thank you. Good, right? So further and farther. Those are going to be the comparative forms of far, right? So if you want to say that it's more far, it's going to be incorrect, right? You're going to say it's further or farther. And again, that's just because it's irregular. And finally, to finish, this is a chart that compares these 2 elements, the Earth and Mars, right? These are 2 planets, and this chart is comparing the 2 planets by using comparative adjectives and by using real information, right? So we're going to divide. Actually, I'm going to start reading this one, and then you're going to read the rest. I'm going to start with diameter. The diameter in kilometers is, right, 12,760 kilometers Earth and 6,790 kilometers Mars. All right. This is again diameter. So Mars is smaller than Earth. Then distance from Sun in million kilometers, right? 150 million kilometers Earth, 228 million kilometers Mars. So Mars is more distant from the Sun. Okay, let's continue with you, please, Evelyn. Read length, please. Length of the day.
Length of day, hours, 24, 25. A day on Mars is slightly longer than a day on Earth.
Good. Very good, right? So you have 24 hours on the Earth, but you have 25 hours on Mars. But actually, they are very similar, right? So a day it's almost the same on those planets. Let's keep going, please, Evelyn. Actually, we're going to read the 2 elements as well. Read about moons and read about surface temperature, please.
Moons, one day.
Actually, 1 moon, right? The Earth has only 1 moon.
One more. 2, Mars has more moons than Earth. Surface temperature degrees Celsius, 22 and negative 23. Mars is colder than Earth.
Thank you very much, Evelyn. Great. Only one detail. It's great that you said negative. It's very good, but only in temperature. All right. When you're talking about degrees Celsius and we are talking about Fahrenheit or temperature in general, instead of negative, you're going to use the expression minus. Okay. So it's going to be minus 23 degrees Celsius. Okay. Let's repeat that complete idea, please, Evelyn. Minus 23 degrees Celsius.
Minus 23 degrees Celsius.
Great. There you go. Thank you very much, Evelyn. So that's it. All right. This is the lesson regarding comparative adjectives. As always, Evelyn, you have extra practice. Okay. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 links, and you can use those links to practice a little bit more, right? These comparative adjectives, perhaps to learn more adjectives, to try to use new adjectives that you didn't know about, so that you can increase again the vocabulary that you got, and you can increase the level of your English. That again, it's very good, but of course we all can improve every day, right? I can improve, you can improve, and everybody that is working with anything can always improve. So that's it. And the class is going to be only up to this point. Evelyn, I don't know if you have any questions or comments to finish today. Let me know, please.
No, teacher, it's clear this class.
Very good. That's great to know, Evelyn. I'm happy to hear that. So let's then finish it. All right. As always, I'm going to send the survey. It's over there. Let me know you finish and you answer to those questions, please.
Ready, teacher.
Thank you very much. Have a good night. Please don't forget about the quiz. Okay, the quiz is going to be available now. You can only take it until Sunday. And don't forget about the assignments, because the assignments are only available tonight. Okay, tonight, 11:59 p.m. Just that one, Evelyn. Have a good night. Enjoy your weekend and see you on Monday.
Thank you, teacher. Have a good weekend too.
Thank you. Thank you, Evelyn. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, teacher.